여자친구야.
So this first project is probably the least subtle of all of them because it literally has a picture of Tay on it. But I thought it's really cute, and I think, it's been floating around for a while as well on TikTok and other social media. But you can customize it to, make it however obvious that you want. The tools you'll need is obviously a glass frame, a picture of choice, and either some white paint or a white marker. I stuck the glass onto my computer screen so that I could sort of trace the outline of the Spotify playlist. It'd probably be a lot easier if you have like an iPad or maybe just print the image out, but I just didn't, so I had to make do. And then I sort of just finished it off the screen, so it was a bit easier to handle. Lastly, I just used a pencil to sort of finish it up and make it look a bit more neat around the letters. Then I just used some glue, 2 different ones. I wasn't sure which one was going to stick properly, so I made sure to lather a lot on there. For the picture, I got one printed and sent to me, but if you have a printer, you could just print one out. I just didn't have one on hand. And once I stuck it on there properly, let it dry, it was all finished, and now you have your Spotify playlist. Now for project 2, we're going to do these fake book covers, and I just went to my local secondhand store and picked up some books, one that I knew I was going to paint, and I just sort of laid them out to see if they look nice on top of each other. And then I simply went back and started to paint it the color that I'd like. Now, and please don't be like me and place your book right next to your blob of paint so that it falls on top of it. I gave it 2 coats just to cover it properly. As you can see here, I didn't bother to do the bottom because I knew that no one was going to look at the bottom. It's purely for the aesthetic, so just to save paint. And now you can go ahead and trace whatever you want written on the book cover. I chose to write ego. You can use stickers as well if you have letter stickers. I think that would look really cute as well. And again, you can make it however obvious that you want. You could write pretty much whatever you want on there. I love when my decor has sort of double meaning, so that if you are ARMY, you can obviously see and recognize that it is related to BTS. But if you are not, then it also has a second meaning, like ego, from Carl Jung's philosophy. So there you go. And here is 2 different versions I made. For project 3, we're going to do some artwork. So what you want to do is open up Google Draw. I'll leave it on the screen here. You can use pretty much whatever drawing software, but Google Draw is free and fairly simple to navigate. You don't need to have a tablet like I do. You can use your mouse or whatever. It's really simple to use, so just do whatever you feel comfortable with. So here I'm just showing a couple images that I did. I usually find inspiration or images on Pinterest, open them up and just start tracing them.
여자친구야. 어찌 뭐 할까 baby. 내 남자친구.
So now I'm just showing you a couple different ones that I did. I hope you can find some inspiration in it. Some of them are more obvious than others, and I'm curious to hear maybe from you which ones you recognize or which ones stand out more.
내 여자친구야.
Now this one I ended up not using at the end because I didn't really like how it turned out, but I'm curious to hear if any of you out there can get the reference to how it's related to BTS. I would be interested to hear in the comments.
넌 날 happy. I can make you happy.
So you can get these printed, or you can print them out yourself, or maybe you can just draw them. But yeah, really nice. Now you have like a collection you can swap out whenever you feel like changing up your aesthetics. For project 4, we're gonna do probably the most extensive and maybe also challenging one for some. So I started off by painting an old canvas in the colors that I wanted. And once that was dry, I started to trace the image of the Omelas inn or motel. For me, I just found images on Google searching BTS Spring Day Omelas set, I believe. I found the ones from the actual music video, and then I also found one from an artist. If I find the name of this person, I will leave it on the screen. Trace as best as possible the image of the motel. Now I changed up the colors a little bit so that it would suit my aesthetic, but I think it would look really cute as well in just the colors it appears with the blue neon lights. There's not really a science behind this. You just have to look at the image and trace it as best as possible. I can't really give you a proper step-by-step tutorial on how to do this. You just have to look at the image and sort of measure it as best as possible, and go by the colors that you want. This all can be a bit of a tedious process, but if you, like me, enjoy doing these things, it's really calming and sort of meditative to just get lost in this world and enjoy the process of making this piece of art. Now, whilst I paint all of this, I thought I would mention what the meaning of this is. I'm sure most armies would know this already, but for those of you who don't know, the Omelas Motel, or Omelas in general, actually come from a short story called The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas. I'm not going to tell you the whole story now, but in short, it's basically a city called Omelas where a lot of people live, and they live happily, but the circumstances on which they are able to live happily and in bliss without any fear of getting hurt or anything, just living purely happily, is that one child must suffer. And so when young people in this town come of age, they get to see this child suffering, and once they are then in the knowledge of the child must suffer for them to be happy, they get the choice of either living with that knowledge or walking away into the unknown. And that's why it's called The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas. So what design means and reminds me of, besides BTS' beautiful music video, of course, is that I don't want my existence and my happiness to be at the sacrifice of something or someone else's suffering. You could literally do whatever with the neon light though. I think another cool thing would be just doing the persona sign, because it actually is a neon sign as well. But again, you could do whatever you want really. You could write anything. I think just be creative. It looks really cool in general, so whatever matches your style. So painting the Omela sign turned out to be a bit unnecessary. You may not have to do that because you're going to cover it with the neon light anyway. But I just like to have it sort of as a background and have a guideline of where to put the neon light. And now to put the neon lights in, I just poked a hole at the back by the bottom of the O and started to drag the whole thing through. Once I had done that, I could start to glue down the strip itself, pull it back through the hole and then poke another hole in the M, pull it through that, glue it down as you can see, and just sort of working my way across the sign until I could poke it back through and stick it to the back of it. And there you have it. There's your Omela's sign. Okay, so for the last one, for project 5, I picked up this already cheap but on sale small bathing rug from IKEA, and I cut out the shape that I wanted it to be. For this one I traced like a small mirror that I had because I quite like the sort of uneven abstract shape of it. And for this we're going to weave through or thread through, is that what it's called? Anyway, some lettering, embroidered maybe, I think that's what it's called, into the rug. So for me I chose something quite simple, Moonchild in Namjoon's handwriting. Now, it was my first time doing this, as you might be able to tell, and I thought I was able to do it with normal thread and a normal needle. Turns out it was a bit more difficult than I thought, so I do recommend, if you're going to do this, to get like some actual yarn and a bigger needle. Maybe you're like, duh, that's like, everyone knows that, but I just was a little bit optimistic. But I did go out and get some yarn and a new needle, and then the process was a lot easier. So yeah, I definitely recommend that. I was originally just going to cut the shape round like a moon, because then it would fit the moon child, but I thought, you know, it's gonna be way too small if I do that, so I chose to do this sort of wiggly shape instead. But the result ain't bad. The embroidery in itself could probably definitely improve. It's not perfect, but yeah, I think it's kind of cute. If you're gonna go with other ideas, I think doing like Hope World in different colors would look really nice as well. But like any of the other projects, you can really customize it to whatever you want. Maybe even some like Hangul Korean letters would look really nice too. So that's it. I hope you like these 5 projects, and please, if you do make them, tag me on Instagram or something. I would love to see it. Bye!